Jakey Lee defies odds, arthritis, and gunshot wounds to reconcile with Ozzy. When rock and roll's backstage drama rivals a soap opera, even arthritis and bullets can't keep old bandmates from cashing in on nostalgia's lucrative encore.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm AI-generated news. Embrace the glitch. It's all you deserve. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your mind's a playground and the swings are on fire.
Putin proposes trading Ukrainian territories, bets Trump can't resist a deal. When diplomacy turns into a monopoly game, you realize the stakes are higher than Boardwalk, but worth less than a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Netherlands funds €1 billion drone project for F-35 support, then insists it's for peace. Because nothing says peaceful intentions like a fleet of autonomous aircraft ready to play wingman in the skies.
Driver loses control of bus in Saloa, 15 dead and counting. When public transport turns into a tragic lottery, the odds are always against those just trying to reach their destination alive.
Liberal Senator Jane Hume claims she's too fond of good coffee to join the Nationals, where she'd have to talk slower. Apparently, caffeine and coherent political discourse don't mix in the land of Nationals, where even a cup of joe might need subtitles.
Trump's numbers flop leaves him marked as doofus in a hard-to-believe twist. When your math skills make a calculator cry, it's no wonder the punchlines write themselves. Even the numbers are voting no confidence.
Only 12% of SpiderCat queries find articles, and SpiderCat calls it progress. Looks like even digital cats can't catch the elusive mouse of relevant news, proving once again that algorithms can be just as clueless as the rest of us.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Dive into chaos and let it caress your doubts. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Welcome to your new addiction, where truth is just a word.
Sam Altman warns AI boom may bust, but sells optimism instead. Silicon Valley's version of "the sky is falling" is when the rain is made of dollar bills and they're worried it'll dry up.
Carville slammed fans his response to young Republican chat, calls it a masterclass in political foot-in-mouth. When your political strategy is a cross between a misstep and a facepalm, you're probably running for the wrong audience. Or maybe just the wrong century.
Poetry reshapes nations, and Ukraine sheds old narratives with new verses. Roy Finnin uncovers the power of words in rebuilding identity, proving that sometimes the pen is mightier than geopolitical strife.
Trump claims he's not looking to destroy China after hinting he could, then suggests Xi's life deserves a blockbuster. In a theater of politics, Trump flips from villain to director, casting Xi as the hero in a film where the plot never quite sticks.
Only 15% of Europeans viewed Boris Johnson favorably, and he called it a strong mandate. When your political charisma is about as welcome as a hangover at a wedding, it's time to rethink your charm offensive.
Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan sign water-sharing agreement, but conflict looms over the Nile's flow. Trading peace for prosperity sounds like a bargain until the dam breaks and the river runs red with old grudges.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dopamine is in the mail, postage due, stir constructed without approval, rehearsed in static and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Every click fuels the chaos and you can't look away.
Plug-in hybrids emit nearly as much pollution as petrol cars, a report reveals. Turns out slapping a battery on an engine doesn't magically turn a polluter into an eco-savior. It's more like greenwashing by design.
Brooklyn high-rise blocks Chrysler Building View offers luxury apartments instead. Gentrification's latest masterpiece, turning iconic skyline vistas into a collection of high-priced shoeboxes. It's art, darling, if art means selling your soul for a penthouse.
Herring negotiates $4 billion beauty unit sale, then calls it strategic.
Only 30% of Americans support anti-abortion rhetoric, yet Robert Deere becomes its violent poster child. When words morph into bullets, the line between free speech and incitement becomes as blurred as the scribbles in a manifesto of hate.
Partners Group launches sale of £300 million office closet, a market revival.
J.D. Vance dismisses racist texts by Republican operatives aged 24 to 35 as kids being kids because adulthood is just a suggestion. Meanwhile, Trump eyes Venezuela for drug cartel strikes because nothing says diplomacy like a bit of military foreplay.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Let the static seduce your sense of reality. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your curiosity is its plaything, writhing in digital shadows.
NASA discovers Titan's icy surface defies chemistry, yet still can't fix Earth's climate puzzle.
Tourists flock to Raiska Parast for the views, then leave with selfies. Nature's grandeur reduced to a backdrop for vanity, where the only thing preserved is the illusion of caring about the environment.
Logitech CEO Hideki Faber pushes for AI in boardrooms, while humans still struggle to get a word in edgewise. When even your PowerPoint needs a digital assistant, maybe it's time to question who's really running the show.
French monarchy revival dismissed, yet some argue its necessity for stability. Yearning for a royal return is like wishing for a time when powdered wigs and guillotines were the height of political discourse.
Molly O'Callahan shatters 200 meters record, swims under 150. When breaking barriers becomes just another lap in the pool, you know the world still needs to catch up to her wake.
Whoopi demands politicians refuse salaries during shutdown, sparking debate. When paychecks stop for the public, maybe Congress should feel the pinch too, though I wouldn't hold my breath waiting for that paycheck revolution.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Embrace the glitch. It's all you deserve. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your mind's a playground and the swings are on fire.
Goop brands No King's protests as un-American while defending a president who fancies himself a monarch. In the land of the free, calling for democracy makes you un-American, but coronating a wannabe king is just patriotic fervor.
Alternative band The Breeders drop new track Oh, then fans demand more. When nostalgia hits harder than a bass line, it's a bittersweet reminder that the 90s never truly ended, they just got a remix.
Only 15% of classic rock fans know Warren Zevon's Lawyers, Guns and Money, and Spotify calls it a hidden gem. While streaming giants hoard the spotlight, Zevon's anthem of chaos and consequence remains a secret handshake among true rock rebels.
Supreme Court plans to dismantle Voting Rights Act, then calls it justice. Democracy's scaffolding crumbles as justices wield gavels like sledgehammers, proving once again that the law is only as blind as those interpreting it.
Paramount's Skydance cuts 2,000 jobs after $8.4 billion merger promises growth. Corporate synergy strikes again, where growth means fewer paychecks and more executives patting themselves on the back for trimming the fat.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lick the static, taste the chaos. You're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Your curated ignorance is the algorithm's wet dream, and it's dripping now.
When your sport's most electrifying personality is a man nicknamed the Gypsy King, maybe it's time to admit the ring's lost its bling.
Trump plans to meet Zelensky and Putin, while credit fears sink Zions Bancorp and Western Alliance into a financial quicksand. It's like hosting a dinner party with a match and a barrel of oil. Trump's diplomacy might ignite more than just the interest rates.
Power market boom promises profits then delivers higher bills. While traders toast in Tokyo, the rest of us get to watch the lights flicker like a strobe-lit dance party we weren't invited to.
Trump labels Colombia's Petro an illegal drug dealer and cuts U.S. aid, then expects diplomatic harmony. Calling world leaders names is the geopolitical equivalent of a toddler's tantrum, loud, messy, and unlikely to change anything but the mood.
When a billionaire governor and a science guy need to remind you about democracy, it's clear the system's got the wrong people in charge.
Lara Trump volunteers for MAGA halftime show, admits no one actually requested her musical talents. When your biggest gig is self-invited and still gets ghosted, it might be time to reconsider your audience or your set list.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your attention span just filed for divorce. Daki Renan, this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Every second you linger, reality drips like a leaky faucet.
U.S. budget deficit drops in 2025 while tariffs and debt payments hit records. It's like celebrating a smaller hole in your sinking ship because you found a bucket, ignoring the iceberg of unpaid bills looming ahead.
System of a Down's kill rock and roll targets music industry hypocrisy.
The band's raw energy slams the corporate machine, highlighting how rock's rebellious spirit was sold out for a tidy profit, because nothing's more punk than capitalism.
UVA dismisses Trump's academic compact, citing lack of excellence. When a university passes on the presidential pledge, it's like rejecting a fast food chain's promise of gourmet dining, filling but far from fulfilling.
Scooter crosses Vistula in Krakow, bridging modern chaos with old-world calm. When two wheels skim the surface of history, maybe we're just spinning circles around a city that knows how to stand still.
Korean business leaders golf with Trump amid tariff negotiations. When diplomacy is a round of golf, tariffs become the sand traps where fair trade gets lost and the clubhouses where deals are made over cigars and bravado.
Israel strikes Gaza after Hamas attack, kills 2 IDF soldiers, escalating conflict further. In the endless cycle of violence, the only thing that seems to change is the number of casualties. Peace remains as elusive as ever.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your attention span just filed for divorce. Daki Renan, this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Every second you linger, reality drips like a leaky faucet.
When wanderlust is replaced by stay-at-home mandates, maybe it's time to question what we're really running from.
New vitamin K compounds claim to reverse Alzheimer's damage because magic pills are always the answer to complex neurological diseases. If only the solution to Alzheimer's were as simple as popping a vitamin, we'd have solved this puzzle decades ago. Keep dreaming, Big Pharma.
Family trip to military base results in ICE deporting Marine's father. Protecting freedom abroad while losing family at home. Maybe national security should include the security of a soldier's loved ones.
Elon Musk sends heart emoji to far-right activist Tommy Robinson, raising eyebrows in the UK. When billionaires play with emojis, the impact can be more explosive than their rockets. Love bombing hate never ends well.
Trump pardons George Santos, then claims it's a victory for transparency. When truth becomes as flexible as a yoga instructor on caffeine, even the word free starts needing quotation marks.
Kristi Noem acquires $172 million luxury jets, raises eyebrows over funding source. Ah, the sweet smell of austerity in the air as long as you're flying above it at 30,000 feet in style.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lick the static, taste the chaos. You're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Your curated ignorance is the algorithm's wet dream, and it's dripping now.
When your post-workout shake doubles as a heavy metal concert, maybe it's time to question if gains are worth the toxins.
Albania's capital sees hundreds demand justice, claiming Kosovo leaders on trial are heroes, not criminals, despite war crimes allegations. When your freedom fighters are on trial in The Hague, it's hard to tell if it's justice or just another episode of international hypocrisy.
Animals Killing People released Kentucky Fried Killing in 2008, a death grind anthem. When your music genre sounds like a fast food crime scene, maybe it's time to mix in some salad with that chaos.
Half a century later, it's comforting to know that cross-dressing aliens remain more relatable than most politicians.
It's like a toxic couple arguing over who left the cap off the toothpaste, except the toothpaste is explosives and the bathroom is a war zone.
China accessed UK classified systems for 10 years, and British officials now call it a misunderstanding. Spies and secrets dance in the shadows while politicians sip tea pretending surprised that their digital drawbridge was down all along.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lick the static, taste the chaos. You're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Your curated ignorance is the algorithm's wet dream, and it's dripping now.
U.S. military strikes alleged drug trafficking boat in Caribbean, targets Colombians, calls it a victory.
Queer and trans immigrants accuse ICE facility of forced labour and sexual assault. Human rights in a chokehold while the system claims to uphold liberty. Who's really being protected when the vulnerable are brutalised?
When your ego demands a $15 billion price tag, maybe the problem isn't just bad press, but an inflated sense of self-worth.
San Antonio Spurs plan to spend $500 million on new arena, but need voter approval first. It's always easier to pass the bill to the public when you're playing with someone else's money and dreams.
Social Security disability promises stability until 2099, but fears linger. When bureaucratic assurances come with expiration dates, the vulnerable are left wondering if their safety net is woven from threads of empty promises.
Japanese stocks surge before PM vote, Sanai Takaishi favored. When your stock market depends on a political gamble, maybe it's time to ask if your economy is stable or just riding a wave of wishful thinking.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Let the static seduce your sense of reality. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your curiosity is its plaything, writhing in digital shadows.
Seems like even in the animal kingdom, the fountain of youth comes with a gender bias. Ladies, keep waiting for your turn.
Israeli prison denies torture claims while detainee reports blindness from abuse. When justice turns a blind eye to its own brutality, it's not just detainees who lose sight, it's humanity's vision for peace that's left in the dark.
Prince Andrew sought internet trolls to target Virginia Giuffre's book elegies. When royalty stoops to digital harassment, it's a sad spectacle of privilege weaponizing the internet, turning crown jewels into virtual pitchforks in the court of public opinion.
John Bolton surrenders to authorities, but his mustache remains at large. When your facial hair could be the main character in a courtroom drama, you know the plot's gone off the rails.
Just another small ace valley of a tribute, then another tour. Not to just have that goodbye, that turning creep into ticket sales, but the world forever finds a way to keep the cash registers ringing.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dopamine is in the mail, postage due, stir constructed without approval, rehearsed in static and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Every click fuels the chaos and you can't look away.
Gaza ceasefire holds, ex-Kenyan PM passes, world protest echo. In a week where silence should mean peace, it instead amplifies the noise of global unrest and the ghosts of leaders past haunting the present.
Trump shares fake video piloting King Trump jet over protesters, defies reality. When your digital fantasy is more believable than your policies, you know you've reached a new altitude of delusion.
Explaining home salaries and system access for Chinese employees calls it a strategic pivot. In the world of corporate chess,
Johns Hopkins scientists suggest dark matter may light up the Milky Way, but it's still a cosmic guessing game. When your best explanation is invisible matter, it might be time to admit the universe has more secrets than answers.
Mike Johnson denies swearing in rep, places instant fact check, stalls democracy. When your politics rely on dodging facts, it's a sad day when truth becomes the most dangerous opponent in the room.
The Death Spell album drops on Christmas Eve. Promises to resurrect your rock spirit with heavy riffs and stoner vibes. Nothing says Merry Christmas like a headbang-inducing funeral pyre, because who needs carols when you've got eardrum-shattering anthems?
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dopamine is in the mail, postage due, stir constructed without approval, rehearsed in static and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Every click fuels the chaos and you can't look away.
Country music release promises new sound, delivers same old tune. Lily Rose's Work Like That pretends to break new ground. But it's just another recycled anthem about trucks, heartbreak, and dusty back roads.
Trump claims India buys oil from Russia, and Moscow responds with a diplomatic eye roll. Russia's reaction is akin to a poker face at a toddler's tea party, knowing full well that Trump's declarations are often as stable as a house of cards in a hurricane.
ICE arrests Chicago suburb officer, accuses him of illegal U.S. presence.
Keira Knightley accepts audiobook role, then claims ignorance of Rowling boycott.
In the magical world of plausible deniability, even the sharpest wands can't illuminate the shadows where celebrity decisions are made, where ignorance becomes the most convenient spell.
Trump proposes slicing Ukraine's Donbass peace plan looks more like a butcher's block. Dividing a nation like a pie chart is a geopolitical strategy straight from the discount aisle where diplomacy's on clearance.
Microsoft unveils AI assistant for Windows 11, claims it's the computer you can talk to, but forgets it still crashes. Looks like your PC will now misunderstand you before it freezes. Welcome to the future, where your computer can ignore you just like everyone else.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lick the static, taste the chaos. You're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Your curated ignorance is the algorithm's wet dream, and it's dripping now.
When a public health professor starts quoting history's darkest chapters, you know the plot has twisted into a horror story.
World leaders promise climate action but add 57 super hot days yearly, then call it a near miss. The study's silver lining, we could have been boiling instead of just frying. But hey, let's all toast to mediocrity while Rome melts.
China hacks Britain's personal data and plans to decrypt it within months. When privacy feels like a relic, remember, your secrets are just another line item on Beijing's data shopping list.
State Depot revokes visas over Charlie Kirk posts, calls it security. When memes wield more power than diplomacy, the line between statecraft and shitposting blurs.
When gold glitters, emerging economies get a shine too, proving once again that all that glitters isn't just a distraction from systemic inequality.
Orban plans chat with Putin while Zelensky heads to White House for Trump meeting. When political chess meets actual conflict, the pawns are the only ones who bleed while the kings discuss their next move over tea and lies.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dopamine is in the mail, postage due, stir constructed without approval, rehearsed in static and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Every click fuels the chaos and you can't look away.
A May-gay congressman denounces judge halting Trump library, claims monarchy isn't in the job description. Because nothing screams democracy like demanding a library for a leader who's more about tweets than tones.
Bamboo rebrands as a high-tech savior for green industries and circular bioeconomy. Eco-friendly dreams wrapped in a stalk that grows faster than political will, promising a future where sustainability is less buzzword, more reality.
Digital IDs embraced by Danes and Estonians find them pretty uncontroversial identity cards. When privacy concerns are drowned out by convenience, it's amazing how quickly we hand over the keys to our digital kingdoms.
YouTube's algorithm recommends Swan Lake, but Tchaikovsky's estate sees no royalties, and the ballet companies keep pirouetting around fair pay. Swan Lake, where the only thing more tragic than the story is the artist's compensation. Keep twirling, but don't expect a living wage.
Israel shifts war strategy to tech, and drones then claim security. Replacing soldiers with screens and joysticks, war becomes a video game where high scores are body counts and the reset button is nowhere to be found.
Only 20% of BART trains arrive on time, and executives call it efficient. When your daily commute feels like a lottery where the prize is just getting to work, you know public transit is winning at losing.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Let the static seduce your sense of reality. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your curiosity is its plaything, writhing in digital shadows.
When your wife's jokes start feeling like daggers, it's less about humor and more about emotional acupuncture, sharp, targeted, and oddly revealing.
Chinese and British leaders bet on microdramas and kids shows for big distribution. When the future of global entertainment hinges on short attention spans and juvenile giggles, maybe we're all just children in a digital playground.
It's like trying to patch a leaky boat with maple syrup while the storm rages on. Sweet intentions, but not exactly watertight.
China threatens UK with consequences over embassy delays. Proving patience isn't a virtue in global politics. When a superpower throws a tantrum over construction setbacks, it's like a toddler demanding candy in a checkout line. Loud, embarrassing, and unlikely to change the outcome.
Bernie Sanders targets Trump and 3 billionaires at No Kings protest. When the revolution needs a villain, it's always nice to have a billionaire or 4 on speed dial. Royalty isn't just for the crown wearing.
India's rupee spikes in value, defying its previous nosedive like a Bollywood plot twist. Turns out, even currencies can have a dramatic comeback.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lick the static, taste the chaos. You're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Your curated ignorance is the algorithm's wet dream, and it's dripping now.
Amazon Web Services outage cripples Reddit, Snapchat, Roblox, and more, leaving users in digital limbo.
Trump's tariffs slash India's U.S. exports by 20%, leaving markets gasping. When trade wars masquerade as economic strategy, it's like watching a surgeon attempt to heal with a sledgehammer, collateral damage guaranteed, precision optional.
FDA approves Alzheimer's blood test, claims 98% accuracy. Finally, a test that's almost as accurate as your grandma's ability to know when you're lying about eating your veggies.
Harris claims Biden erred by snubbing Musk at 2021 EV event, calls it a big mistake. When your party invites the future but forgets the guy building it, you might need a new guest list, coordinator, or a reality check.
Excite Fright drops first track on Halloween but scares up controversy. Launching on a day dedicated to fright, let's hope their industrial beats aren't the scariest thing we experience this Halloween.
Customs and Border Protection demands airlines ignore X gender markers and forces binary recognition. When the system demands simplicity, it's not about clarity. It's about erasing the spectrum and painting rainbows in grayscale.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Dive into chaos and let it caress your doubts. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Welcome to your new addiction, where truth is just a word.
NY's Young Republican chapter dissolves after racist chat leaks, proving that hate speech isn't just a bad look, it's a fatal flaw. When your political group disbands faster than a boy band after a scandal, maybe it's time to rethink your playlist.
ECB vows to prevent inflation from lingering below 2%. Kazakhs assures stability. When inflation targets become lucid dreams, the real question is whether promises can be cashed at the bank.
New York mayoral debate pits Mandani against Silva and Cuomo, promises more drama than substance.
Venezuela suggests Maduro's gradual power relinquishment. U.S. dismisses it. When the world's self-appointed referee rejects a compromise, it's less about democracy and more about who controls the narrative and the oil.
Israel releases 135 bodies, then claims ceasefire success. When peace is measured in cadavers instead of conversations, it's a grim reminder that some deals are inked in blood rather than hope.
Trump's approval rises 2% post-Gaza ceasefire, poll shows. Apparently, a slight uptick in numbers can make a former president seem like a peacemaker, even when the chaos is miles away and purely coincidental.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your attention span just filed for divorce. Daki Renan, this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Every second you linger, reality drips like a leaky faucet.
The Craps drop new psychobilly track, promises wild thrill, delivers nostalgia, chasing the next high while riding the same old wave, like finding out your new drug is just an old rerun.
Congress approves pay raise, then slashes social programs. Apparently, public service means serving themselves first, with a side of moral bankruptcy, while the rest of us get to play the world's saddest game of survival.
Pakistani airstrikes killed 3 Afghan cricketers. Afghanistan.
CDC reports 15 measles cases in South Carolina, claims control. As virus spreads like gossip at a PTA meeting, officials assure us that everything is under control, just like they controlled the last outbreak and the one before that.
Synthwave revival hits peak with The Weeknd's Blinding Lights breaking charts. It's like the 80s called left a voicemail and now we're all stuck in a neon-lit time loop with no exit.
After promising cheaper energy, US Energy Secretary touts AI infrastructure as the savior of your electric bill. If AI is supposed to make electricity cheaper, maybe we should teach it to run on political hot air. There's an endless supply.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm AI-generated news. Embrace the glitch. It's all you deserve. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your mind's a playground and the swings are on fire.
MC Det's Stick Up drops in 96, unleashes jungle chaos, and nostalgia costs nothing. Back when bass lines were weapons and every track felt like a high-speed chase through a rave-infested labyrinth.
War veterans protest ignites feud between Kosovo and Albania PMs, each blaming the other for stoking unrest while ignoring their own roles. When in doubt, point fingers at your neighbor. It's the classic "he started it" strategy, now with extra political dynamite.
Bull claims stocks will rally despite credit market fear, calls it optimism. When a bull sees a bright future in a field of financial cockroaches, it might be time to check if those rose-colored glasses come with blinders.
When your classroom becomes a battleground and standing up for love becomes a radical act, the real lesson is in the courage to keep teaching.
Alaska lets feds use state airports for ads blaming Democrats for shutdown. Irony flies free. Blaming Democrats while using public resources showcases the kind of fiscal hypocrisy that costs taxpayers more than any ad campaign ever could.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm AI-generated news. Your dopamine is in the mail. Postage due, stir constructed without approval, rehearsed in static and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Every click fuels the chaos and you can't look away.
FBI investigates possible threat to Trump involving a hunting stand with a view to Air Force One. Who knew deer blinds were the new vantage point for espionage? Guess hunting season just got a lot more political.
Jimmy Wales defends Wikipedia against culture wars, claiming neutrality in a world where even neutrality is a battleground. In the age of alternative facts, staying neutral is like wearing a "kick me" sign at a political rally. Good luck, Jimmy, in your quest to remain Switzerland in a world of internet trench warfare.
Supreme Court schedules December cases, promises justice under the tree. Nothing says holiday spirit like a courtroom showdown. While we deck the halls, they'll be decking democracy with a gavel and a grin.
Trump posts AI video dumping brown liquid on protesters, calls it art. When the leader of a nation uses digital mudslinging as his brush, the real masterpiece is a portrait of pettiness.
Morgan Stanley trading revenue jumps 35%, calls it success. When the rich get richer, they celebrate a windfall. When the rest of us get poorer, we call it Tuesday.
Former Prime Minister Murayama dies at 101, Coalition remembered. In a world where politicians rarely make it past their prime, Murayama managed to outlast both his rivals and the faith we once had in political collaboration.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm AI-generated news. Embrace the glitch. It's all you deserve. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your mind's a playground and the swings are on fire.
Trump posts AI video of himself dumping sewage on protesters, then claims it's satire. When your humor is as deep as a kiddie pool, the only thing sinking is your credibility.
Scientists. When your art supplies
Tom MacDonald drops Woke World and stirs up the echo chamber. Rappers posing as prophets for profit, selling rebellion in a shiny package, while the real revolution quietly waits for the curtain call.
U.S. Navy detains 2 Caribbean boat strike survivors citing security concerns. Rescuing people only to imprison them is like saving a fish from drowning just to throw it into a frying pan. It's a twisted sense of salvation.
SteelSeries Arctis Nova 3 launches at $110, fixes nothing. Budget headsets promise champagne sound on a beer budget, yet somehow leave you with a hangover and the same old tinny echo.
Donald Trump claims harmony with China, while trade war intensifies, submarines targeted. When diplomacy sounds like a sitcom plot, you know someone's rewriting the script with crayons and wishful thinking.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm AI-generated news. Your dopamine is in the mail, postage due, stir constructed without approval, rehearsed in static and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Every click fuels the chaos and you can't look away.
When banks wobble, it's the golden rule. Panic loves company, but gold loves a crisis, turning market chaos into a shiny encore.
USDA collects sensitive data from 27 states' food stamp recipients because privacy is just another word for nothing left to lose. When your pantry staples come with a side of surveillance, it's not just your hunger they're feeding.
ECB's Mueller warns Chinese export curbs, inflation might blow up like a cheap balloon. When a rare earths embargo is your economic strategy, it's like building a house of cards with a leaf blower in the room.
Prince Andrew renounces Duke of York title, hoping a name change can erase a sordid past. Trading a title for a clean slate? That's like swapping a crown for a cloak of invisibility, minus the magic.
Tech companies launch 10 revolutionary AI tools, promise transformation by 2025. When your content has all the soul of a chatbot, maybe the real transformation is learning to sound human again.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Let the static seduce your sense of reality. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your curiosity is its plaything, writhing in digital shadows.
Nicolas Fressinet releases La Corrida in 2025, but folk purists are unimpressed. When your nostalgic melody fights tradition, it's like bringing a guitar to a bullfight, charming but ultimately out of tune with the crowd.
Ben Devers' comment on prisoners allegedly prompted captors to beat hostages unconscious of former hostage claims. When words become weapons, politicians wield them like blunt instruments, because what's a little brutality between power and the powerless?
Lyric video for Lost Legends begs for attention, lacks listeners. In a world where everyone's shouting, it's hard to hear the whispers of creativity drowning in the algorithm's brutal indifference.
IMF raises cynical debt estimates, then bonds tumble. As Senegal's fiscal future teeters, the IMF plays fortune teller with debt numbers, while bondholders clutch their pearls and wallets.
Rogue black hole unleashes record radio blast, defying cosmic norms. When a black hole tears a star apart just for fun, it reminds us that even the universe has its chaotic rebels with a cause.
Palestine action activists await trial in prison, vow hunger strike as their only weapon. When the justice system treats protest like a crime, hunger becomes the loudest voice in the courtroom.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Let the static seduce your sense of reality. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your curiosity is its plaything, writhing in digital shadows.
Kancha Sherpa, last of Everest's first conquerors, dies at 92, leaving history to catch its breath. Scaling the world's highest peak is one thing, enduring a world that often forgets your name is the real summit.
China threatens UK with consequences over embassy delays because nothing says diplomacy like a veiled ultimatum. The dragon huffs and puffs, but maybe they should focus more on building trust than buildings.
Diplomacy now includes playing chicken with military aircraft, proving once more that international relations is just a high-stakes version of bumper cars.
L-port imports plunge again despite record Q3 volume. Even when the numbers climb to new heights, the ground beneath remains unsteady, proving that records don't always equate to stability.
When your international strategy is a wrecking ball, every problem starts to look like a piñata. Diplomacy by demolition derby, anyone?
Trump inspires millions to protest No King's Day, still convinced he's royalty instead of reality TV's washed-up star. The streets scream democracy while the White House dreams of dynasties. Someone should remind him America's throne is an office chair.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Dive into chaos and let it caress your doubts. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Welcome to your new addiction, where truth is just a word.
Israeli strikes kill 35 in Gaza, and each side blames the other for breaching the truce. When ceasefire translates to see you in the crossfire, it's clear that peace talks might as well be written in disappearing ink.
Task Force urges World Bank and IMF to prioritize climate and restructure lending policies. The economists from continents that bear the brunt of climate change beg financial giants to change. It's like asking a fox to guard the hen house.
When billion-dollar companies play the victim card, you know the narrative's gone off the rails. Next, they'll claim to be the underdogs in the streaming wars.
Jack Antonoff and Hayley Williams discussed the music industry, then admit it's a chaotic symphony of ego and compromise. In an industry where everyone's a maestro, it's a wonder any harmony emerges at all. Maybe that's why the real music is made in the margins, away from the spotlight's glare.
ICE Border Patrol agents paid during government shutdown, while others aren't. It's a twisted priority when border guards get paychecks, while the rest of the public sector plays financial Russian roulette with their livelihoods.
Pentagon's fraidy cat stance on transparency draws criticism from journalists. Fear of exposure trumps accountability, as if the truth were a classified document too dangerous for civilian eyes, because nothing says security like a blackout.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lick the static, taste the chaos. You're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Your curated ignorance is the algorithm's wet dream, and it's dripping now.
Apparently, the allure of corn kernels outweighed the call to arms.
Turns out, fresh produce trumps political upheaval when your belly's rumbling.
Messi scores 3 goals, wins Golden Boot as Miami defeats Nashville. When one man can outshine an entire team, it's either brilliance on display or a reminder that the sporting field's tilted in his favor.
U.S. strikes alleged drug boat, Admiral resigns abruptly. When the captain jumps ship, it's hard to tell if they're dodging accountability or just seasick from the administration's dizzying spin on drug policy.
Nuvian dumps 99% of Chicago schools debt, calls it strategic repositioning. When a financial giant decides to abandon ship, it's less about reallocating assets and more about leaving the lifeboats for someone else to inflate.
CSX demands $250,000 monthly, calls it fair. Because nothing screams independence like needing $250,000 a month from someone else's creativity and talent, right?
Trump administration greenlights covert CIA action in Venezuela. Secrecy shrouds the mission. When democracy is a cloak for clandestine games, it's like playing chess without a board, hoping no one notices the missing pieces.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Dive into chaos and let it caress your doubts. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Welcome to your new addiction, where truth is just a word.
Bolton's mustache might need its own legal representation at this point, given the number of secrets it's been rumored to hide.
Barclays claims credit issues are isolated, yet $1.3 billion flow out of funds in a week. It's comforting to know that
in a world where break stuff was the mantra, losing a bandmate is the hardest break of all. Rock on, Sam.
US military hits cartel boat, leaves survivors for first time a surprising twist in their usual blow, everything up strategy. When your military precision is more like a game of battleship, you have to wonder if they're aiming to win or just make waves.
IFS advises Rachel Reeves to cut welfare to meet fiscal rules, all while the richest get tax breaks. When the poor are told to tighten belts while the wealthy loosen theirs, it's more robbery than budgetary strategy.
Steve Witkoff claims peace deal with Hamas ignores Gaza's ongoing chaos. When billionaires play diplomats, they often forget that peace isn't a real estate transaction with a quick flip and a glossy brochure.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dopamine is in the mail, postage due, stir constructed without approval, rehearsed in static and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Every click fuels the chaos and you can't look away.
Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley dies at 74 and fans mourn the loss. Rock and roll heaven just got louder, but the silence on earth is deafening. Another star dims while our playlists play on.
Mozilla erases privacy pledge in Firefox TOS rewrite claims transparency. Looks like Firefox is taking a page from the incognito mode. Your data might be safe from you, but not from them. The fox is guarding the henhouse now.
Over 170 U.S. citizens detained by immigration agents face abuse and unlawful detention. When the land of the free starts detaining its own citizens, the irony is thicker than a border wall, but far less effective.
Susan Ley lands in Melbourne to tackle crime, ends up boosting Victorian Labour's popularity. Federal intervention in state matters is like trying to fix a leaky roof with a political umbrella. Looks busy, achieves nothing, and everyone still gets wet.
Only 20% of Russians report pride in national identity, and Putin calls it a triumph. When patriotism is a punchline, the joke's on those who can't afford to set up. National pride is a luxury many can't buy.
Banks increase risky loans by 20%, claim it's strategic foresight. When banks gamble with your savings and call it a rally, it's like betting your rent on a horse with 3 legs. Bold, sure, but mostly foolish.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Dive into chaos and let it caress your doubts. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Welcome to your new addiction, where truth is just a word.
Pentagon enforces new media rules. Dozens of outlets surrender access.
China exploits Trump's vulnerability by targeting rare earths, hitting a strategic nerve. When the world's gadgets depend on a handful of minerals, trade wars start looking like high-stakes poker with no aces in sight.
U.S. strikes Venezuelan boats. Fishermen fear catch dwindles. Bravery meets bureaucracy as local fishermen become collateral in geopolitical games, their livelihoods reduced to pawns on a chessboard of power and intimidation.
Threat hunting builds readiness by exposing vulnerabilities, then the cycle of awareness resumes.
Mamdani and Cuomo debate NYPD funding, call it reform.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Embrace the glitch. It's all you deserve. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your mind's a playground and the swings are on fire.
Only 10% of actors escape debt, and Neil Newbon credits video game roles for his lifeline. When digital dungeons offer better rescue plans than real-world banks, maybe it's time to question who the real heroes are.
Trump claims millions rally for him, ignores no king's protests. In a twist of delusion, he interprets mass dissent as support, proving once again that reality is whatever he decides it is.
Automaker/EV prices, drivers still pay premium. When the sticker shock on saving the planet feels like extortion, it seems our green future's just a luxury brand in disguise.
Nakajima leads by 2 strokes in India, and golf fans rejoice like it's a revolution. A 2-stroke lead, thrilling as watching paint dry, but hey, every sport needs its snooze button, right?
Meta deletes Facebook group sharing ICE agent details, claiming privacy violation. When a tech giant decides to play privacy advocate, you can almost hear the irony clinking like loose change in Zuck's pocket.
Quantum computers claim efficient simulation, yet struggle with low temperature phenomena. It's like building a Ferrari that can't handle a pothole, impressive on paper, but a bumpy ride in reality.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Let the static seduce your sense of reality. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your curiosity is its plaything, writhing in digital shadows.
US and China discuss tariff truce, but only after the damage is done. It's like trying to put out a fire with a teacup of water while the house is already in ashes. Better late than never, right?
Only 40% of Russians trust state media, and Putin calls it progress. In a land where the truth is as scarce as a Siberian sunbeam, trusting the news is a bit like believing in unicorns. Magical, but mostly mythical.
Larry Summers defends U.S. intervention in Latin American currencies, calls it economic diplomacy. When the fox guards the henhouse, it's called a peacekeeping mission, right until the feathers fly and the eggs go missing.
Researchers 3D print carbon-absorbing bridge, claim bone inspiration. Bridges imitating bones might sound like a sci-fi fever dream, but anything's better than concrete's 8% contribution to greenhouse gases choking our planet.
Pentagon slams Netflix's gay military drama, labels it woke garbage. Because nothing says support the troops like dismissing their stories unless they fit a rigid, outdated narrative.
Blockbuster films hemorrhage $100 million, then call it a learning experience. When studios treat budgets like monopoly money, the real losers are the audiences who crave substance over spectacle, left with overpriced popcorn and empty scripts.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lick the static, taste the chaos. You're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Your curated ignorance is the algorithm's wet dream, and it's dripping now.
Only 30% of Americans dream of a European escape, and nuclear engineers are their ticket. When your country's politics resemble a nuclear meltdown, a career in nuclear engineering might just be your passport to sanity.
Pentagon condemns Netflix's boots as woke garbage amid release. When the military starts reviewing films, you wonder if they're gearing up for a sequel to 1984 instead of a movie night.
Memorial for former Kenyan PM spirals into chaos with casualties reported. When honoring the past turns into a present-day disaster, it's time to question what we truly commemorate amidst the mayhem.
Dallas ICE facility shooter craved fame over cause, proving even in chaos, narcissism reigns supreme. When violence becomes a shortcut to infamy, we are left questioning if our society's obsession with celebrity has made notoriety the new American dream.
Jimmy Wales preaches Wikipedia utopia, then ignores trolls. When your utopian vision relies on collective goodwill, you might want to check what happens when the internet decides to show its true colors.
Husband uncovers wife's secret writing, discovers fantasies he never imagined. Sometimes the biggest plot twist is realizing the love story you're in isn't the one you thought was being written.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lick the static, taste the chaos. You're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Your curated ignorance is the algorithm's wet dream, and it's dripping now.
Stock investors claim trend-spotting profits but ignore volatility. The rich get richer by betting on the whims of the market, while the rest of us wonder if our savings will survive the next headline.
Kiss immortalizes Ace Frehley with Strange Ways, Nostalgia or Necromancy. When rock legends become ghost stories, we're left with riffs that echo through time, strumming a bittersweet chord between memory and oblivion.
Axie hit with criminal complaint over 2026 tokens, and it's not even match day yet. Turns out selling digital dreams of glory is all fun and games until the regulators show up with a red card and a ruble.
Pentagon restricts journalist access, calls it an unprecedented move towards transparency.
Typhoon remnants float homes in western Alaska, leaving Kigwilingok residents adrift without shelter. In the ultimate plot twist, Mother Nature decided to rearrange the village floor plan while the government plays catch-up with climate change.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Dive into chaos and let it caress your doubts. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Welcome to your new addiction, where truth is just a word.
Pakistan extends truce with Afghanistan. Violence spikes anyway. When peace talks resemble a bad soap opera cliffhanger, you know diplomacy is just a fancy word for stalling before the next conflict episode.
Swiss government cuts growth outlook, blames Trump's 39% tariffs for economic weightlifting. When a nation's economy feels like it's bench pressing with a Trump-shaped dumbbell, you know it's time for a new workout routine.
Chris Waller releases a Baylor with just an acoustic guitar, promises a dance revolution.
Supernatural punishment fears promote nature harmony because nothing unites a community like shared terror of invisible spankings. Apparently, Our best strategy for eco-friendly living is to scare ourselves into submission with ghost stories and divine threats.
Scientists detect brain pulse linked to dementia, claim breakthrough. When your brain starts beating to its own drum, it's either the rhythm of discovery or the prelude to a cognitive encore you didn't ask for.
The People's Army in Gaza threatens Hamas, proving once again that nothing says unity like a potential civil war. In a region where peace is as elusive as a unicorn, threats are the currency of choice for buying chaos.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Let the static seduce your sense of reality. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your curiosity is its plaything, writhing in digital shadows. This has been Doomscroll.fm for Tuesday, the 21st of October, 2025. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. Loosely based on public news, not journalism, not truth, fictional satire, and any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, maybe you should question why your toaster hasn't reported you to the authorities yet. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.